In the broken open area of the old space station called Elisera 9, a very bad thing happened during a test that should have been safe. 37 young Yktari warriors stood in a tight circle around one small human child. The Yktari were tall bugs with hard shells, sharp claws, and strong jaws made for fighting. They had escaped their training room, and now they wanted to show how strong they were. The child sat on the cold metal floor with his legs crossed. He looked very small next to the big aliens. His name was Elias, and he was only 8 years old. His spacesuit had dirt on it, and one strap hung down loose. The Yktari made low hissing sounds. Their claws scratched lines on the floor to show they were ready to attack. They moved closer step by step, making the circle smaller. Elias did not run. He did not cry. He just looked up at them with calm eyes. The grown humans who brought him here were gone. Some were dead. Some were locked in safe rooms. No one came to help. No alarm sounded. Rescue ship flew in. Elias had a small box with him earlier that day. The security people wanted to take it away, but he said no. The box had thick walls and strong locks. On the side, it had one word written in old paint. It said, Melivora. No one knew what it meant. They thought it was a toy or food. The child kept it close all the time. Now the box sat right beside him on the floor. One of the Yktari leaders stepped forward. This one was bigger than the others. It had scars on its shell from old fights. It opened its jaws wide and showed rows of sharp teeth. It wanted to end this fast. It wanted to grab the child and bite down hard. The others watched and clicked their claws. They thought this would be easy. They thought the human child had no chance. Elias looked at the big Yktari, then looked down at his box. He reached out with one small hand and touched the side of the box. He did not open it yet. He just touched it like he was saying hello to something inside. Started. Then it was soft at first. A slow scrape, scrape, scrape against the metal floor. It came from inside the box. The Yktari stopped moving for a moment. They turned their heads to listen. They did not understand what made that sound. The sound kept going, scrape, scrape, scrape. It was not fast. It was not loud. It was steady, like someone thinking hard about something. The big Yktari hissed louder. It did not like being ignored. It raised one front leg high, ready to strike down. Elias still did not move. He looked at the floor where the sound came from. He smiled just a little bit. Inside the box, the thing that made the sound woke up more. It pushed against the door. It wanted out. The box shook once, then twice. The latch clicked open by itself, or maybe the child helped. Nobody saw exactly. The door of the box fell down flat. A dark shape came out slow and careful. It was not big. It was low to the ground. It had short, strong legs, thick fur, and a wide head. Black fur covered most of it, with silver. Gray on the back. The eyes were small and bright. They looked around without fear. This was a honey badger. It walked out of the box and stood next to Elias. It sniffed the air once. It looked at the circle of tall Yktari. It did not run. It did not growl. It just started scratching the floor right where it stood. The claws went scrape, scrape, scrape again, slow and calm like before. The Yktari stared. They did not know what this small animal was. They had never seen anything like it on their home world. The big Yktari leader made a loud click sound. It decided the small fur thing meant nothing. It would kill the child first, then deal with the animal. It stepped closer. Elias watched with quiet eyes. The honey badger kept scratching. The sound filled the empty space. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The circle stayed tight. The danger grew bigger. Every second felt heavy. The Yktari leader raised its claw high. It prepared to bring it down fast and hard. Elias looked up at the sharp point coming toward him. He did not blink. The honey badger stopped scratching for one short moment. It turned its head. It looked straight at the big claw, with no fear at all. Then it moved forward 3 steps and waited. The leader swung its claw down like a hammer. The claw hit nothing but air. The badger had already slipped to the side. Its body twisted easy and quick. The claw scraped the floor with a loud grind. The badger turned fast. It opened its mouth wide. It bit hard into the soft spot behind the Yiktari knee joint. The Yiktari screamed, a high sharp sound that hurt the ears. The badger did not let go. Its jaws locked tight. It shook its head side to side. The Yiktari tried to pull away. It lifted its leg high. The badger hung on like it weighed nothing. Its claws dug into the shell and pulled down. Long red lines appeared. Acid blood sprayed out and burned the floor. The badger did not care. It bit deeper. Two more Yiktari rushed in from the sides. They wanted to help their leader. They raised their front legs to crush the small animal. The badger let go of the first one. It dropped to the floor and rolled under the second Yiktari. It came up behind and bit the tendon in the back leg. That Yiktari fell hard. Its face hit the metal with a crash. The third one tried to stab with its sharp tail. The badger ducked low. The tail missed by a hair. The badger jumped up and bit the tail base. The Yiktari howled and spun around. Elias sat still. He watched everything. He did not cheer. He did not look scared. He just watched like this happened every day. The badger moved fast between legs. It bit. It clawed. It never stopped. The Yiktari tried to grab it. Their big claws closed on empty space every time. The badger's skin was very loose. When they caught it, the body slipped out like water. They could not hold on. The circles started to break. Some Yiktari stepped back. They looked at each other. They clicked their mandibles fast. They talked in their bug language. They did not understand how one small thing could fight so hard. The badger went back to the spot on the floor. It started scratching again. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The same spot. The same slow rhythm. The Yiktari stared. They felt strange. They felt something new. They felt unsure. Another Yiktari tried its luck. This one was fast. It jumped high and came down with both front claws. The badger waited until the last second. Then it slid forward under the body. It bit the soft belly. The Yiktari landed wrong. It rolled over and kicked. Its legs waved in pain. The badger climbed on top. It bit the neck joint. The Yiktari stopped moving. More came, 3 at once. They formed a wall with their bodies. They pushed forward together. The badger ran straight at them. It dodged left. It dodged right. It went between them like wind. It bit one leg. It bit another arm. It left blood and pain behind. The Yiktari swung at each other by mistake in the mess. One claw cut another shell open. They hissed in anger. The badger returned to the scratch spot. It dug deeper now, faster but still quiet. The Yiktari watched. They saw the small animal go back to the same place every time. They started to feel something like worry. They did not know why. The child still sat calm. He looked at the badger. He nodded once like he understood something. The big leader stood up again. It limped bad. Its leg dragged behind. It looked at the child. It looked at the badger. It made a very low hiss. This time, it sounded different. This time it sounded careful. The circle closed again. They moved slower now. They watched the badger. They watched the floor. They watched the child. The scratching kept going. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound seemed louder in the quiet. The fight had just started. The badger yawned once. It licked blood from its lips. It looked ready for more. The child reached out and touched the fur. The badger leaned into the hand. They sat together for a moment. The Yiktari waited. They did not know what would happen next. The station stayed quiet, except for the steady scrape. Scrape, scrape, from the floor. The honey badger did not jump high. It did not make any loud noise. It simply walked forward 3 small steps and stopped right in front of the big Yiktari leader. The leader swung its heavy claw down fast, like it wanted to smash everything. The claw hit only empty air, because the badger had already moved to the side. Its strong little body twisted quick and easy. The claw scraped hard against the metal floor. and made a loud grinding sound that echoed in the big empty room. The badger turned around very fast. It opened its wide mouth, full of sharp teeth. It bit down hard, right into the soft bend behind the Yiktari knee joint, where the hard shell was thin. The Yiktari let out a scream, a high, painful sound that made the walls shake. The badger kept its jaws locked tight. It shook its head from side to side, with strong, quick jerks. The Yiktari tried to pull its leg away. It lifted the leg high off the floor. The badger stayed attached, like it was part of the leg now. Its sharp claws dug deep into the shell and pulled down, making long, ugly red lines. Acid blood sprayed out, hot and burning. The blood hit the floor and made smoke rise up. The badger paid no attention. It just bit even deeper. 2 more Yiktari rushed in from the left and right sides. They wanted to save their leader. They lifted their front legs high, ready to crush the small furry animal. The badger let go of the first leg. It dropped straight to the floor and rolled fast under the second Yiktari. It came up right behind that one and bit straight into the thin tendon at the back of the leg. That Yiktari lost its balance. It fell forward hard. Its face slammed into the metal floor with a loud crash. The third Yiktari tried to stab forward with its long, sharp tail. The badger ducked low to the ground. The tail went right over its head, missing by a tiny bit. The badger jumped up quick and clamped its jaws on the base of the tail. The Yiktari howled loud and spun around in circles, trying to shake the badger off. Still, on the cold floor, he watched every move. He did not shout. He did not look afraid. He just watched, calm and quiet, like this was something normal that happened all the time. The badger kept moving fast between the tall legs. It bit hard. It clawed deep. It never stopped for even a second. The Yiktari tried to grab it with their big claws. Every time their claws closed, they caught nothing but air. The badger's skin was very loose and tough. When they managed to pinch it, the body slipped right out, like wet soap. They could not hold it, no matter how hard they tried. The tight circle started to break apart. Some Yiktari took steps back. They looked at each other quick. They clicked their sharp mandibles fast. They talked in their own bug language, full of hisses and snaps. They could not believe one tiny animal could fight so hard and never get tired. The badger ran back to the same spot on the floor where it started. It began scratching again, scrape, scrape, scrape. The same slow, steady rhythm. Small patch of metal. The Yiktari stared hard. They felt strange inside. They felt something they had never felt before. They felt unsure and a little bit scared. Another Yiktari decided to try. This one moved faster than the others. It jumped high into the air and came down with both front claws pointed straight at the badger. The badger waited until the very last moment. Then it slid forward low, under the falling body. It bit right into the soft belly. The Yiktari landed wrong on its side. It rolled over fast, kicking its legs in pain. The badger climbed right up on top. It bit into the neck joint where the head met the body. The Yiktari twitched once, then stopped moving forever. More Yiktari came forward, 3 at the same time. They stood close together and made a solid wall with their hard shells. They pushed the wall forward slow and steady. The badger ran straight toward them. It dodged to the left. It dodged to the right. It slipped between them like fast wind. It bit one leg deep, another arm hard. It left blood and pain everywhere behind it. The Yiktari swung their claws wild in the confusion. One claw hit another Yiktari shell and cut it open by mistake. They hissed loud in anger at each other. The badger went straight back to the scratch spot. It dug deeper this time. The claws moved a little faster, but still quiet and careful. The Yiktari watched closely. They saw how the small animal always returned to the same exact place. They started to feel worry grow inside them. They did not know what the scratching meant, but they knew it was bad. The child Elias stayed calm. He looked at the badger. He gave one small nod, like he understood the plan perfectly. The big leader got back up on its feet. It limped bad now. One leg dragged useless behind it. Blood dripped steady from many wounds. It looked straight at the child Elias. It looked straight at the honey badger. It made a very low hiss. This hiss sounded different from before. This hiss sounded careful and full of doubt. Circle tried to close again. They moved much slower now. They watched the badger every second. They watched the scratch spot on the floor. They watched the quiet child. The scratching sound kept going. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It seemed much louder now, in the heavy quiet of the room. The badger yawned big once. It showed all its sharp teeth, still wet with red. It licked its lips slow. It looked completely ready for whatever came next. Elias reached out with one small hand. He touched the thick fur gentle. The badger leaned into the touch for a moment. They stayed close together. The Yiktari waited nervous. They clicked their claws soft. They did not rush in anymore. The station air felt thick and cold. The only sound was the steady scrape, scrape, scrape from the small, strong claws on the metal floor. The badger stood up again. It shook its body once, getting rid of some sticky blood. It walked forward slow toward the nearest Yiktari. The Yiktari stepped back one step. The badger kept walking. Stepped back again. The badger stopped. It looked up at the tall bug with small bright eyes full of zero fear. The Yiktari hissed, weak. The badger scratched the floor once more, right under its feet. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound was like a promise. The fight was far from over. The small animal was just getting started. The child watched, quiet. The badger waited, patient. The Yiktari felt the cold fear grow bigger inside their hard shells. The Yiktari decided to change how they fought. They stopped rushing in one by one. They stood close together, shoulder to shoulder. They made a strong wall of hard shells and sharp claws. They moved forward as one big group. They pushed the circle smaller and tighter. They wanted to trap the honey badger and the child in the middle. They believed many bodies together would win. They thought the small animal could not break through so many at once. The honey badger watched them come closer. It did not step back. It walked straight forward to meet the wall. The Yiktari lowered their heads. Their mandibles opened wide, showing sharp teeth. They hissed all at the same time. The sound filled the big room like a storm of angry wind. The badger kept walking low to the ground. It looked very small against the tall wall of bugs. When the wall was close enough, the badger darted quick under the first row of legs. It popped up right inside the group. It bit a knee joint hard. It clawed a soft belly deep. Moved so fast, the Yiktari could not turn around quick. They bumped into each other. Their big claws hit their own shells by mistake instead of the furry target. The badger slipped out the other side of the group. It ran straight back to the scratch spot. It started digging again. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The Yiktari turned the whole wall around fast. They chased after the small animal. They tried to push it against the far wall, to trap it. The badger did not let them catch it. It ran low and zigzagged fast. It stayed out of reach all the time. One Yiktari swung its claw too hard and lost balance. It fell forward onto its face. The badger jumped quick onto its back. It bit deep into the neck. The Yiktari dropped flat and stopped moving. The others stepped right over their fallen friend. They kept pushing forward without pause. Elias moved a little for the first time. He stood up slow from the floor. He walked a few steps to the side. He stayed far enough to be safe. Saying a word. The badger fought like it would never stop. It never looked tired. It never showed any fear. It just kept biting and clawing without rest. The Yiktari bled from many places now. Their acid blood made thick smoke rise from the floor. The smell was sharp and burned the nose. One Yiktari got lucky this time. It managed to close its big claw around the badger middle. The claw squeezed tight. The badger went still for one short second. Then it relaxed every muscle in its body. It became soft and slippery, like oiled leather. It twisted hard inside the grip. The claw opened wide by surprise. The badger fell free to the floor. It turned fast and bit the soft inside of the claw deep. The Yiktari pulled its arm back quick. It left 2 broken fingers hanging loose. The badger ran right back to the scratch spot. It scratched harder now. The claws moved with more power. The metal under them started to bend a tiny bit. The Yiktari saw this change. They looked down at the floor. They looked at each other, quick. They began to understand something important. They moved faster now. They wanted to stop the scratching before it was too late. They wanted to kill the small animal before it finished its secret work. 3 Yiktari jumped forward at the same moment. They landed heavy right on top of the scratch spot. They tried to cover it completely with their big bodies. The badger was faster than them. It slipped between their legs like a shadow. It bit one right in the eye. The Yiktari screamed loud and fell backward, holding its face. The other 2 swung their claws wild in anger. The badger dodged easy. It bit legs. It bit tails. It made them hurt so bad they forgot about covering the floor. The circle looked messy now. Many Yiktari lay still on the ground. Some dragged broken legs behind them. Some hissed weak and low. The badger stood in the open middle for a moment. It breathed hard but steady. It looked around with small bright eyes. The child Elias gave one small nod. The badger walked back to the scratch spot. It dug with all its strength now. The metal made a loud groan sound. The Yiktari heard the groan. They rushed forward again in a panic. The big leader came last. It dragged one broken leg. It had lost half its face to deep bites. It looked at the child with its one good eye. It looked at the honey badger with pure hate. It made a weak hiss. It raised its last good claw high, ready for one final attack. The badger looked up at the claw. It did not run. It did not hide. It waited calm and still. The claw came down fast and heavy. The badger rolled quick to the left. The claw missed the badger. It hit the scratch spot hard. The metal cracked open with a sharp snap. A big piece of floor fell inward. A dark hole appeared right where the badger had worked so long. The Yiktari leader stared down into the black opening. It saw only darkness below. It saw broken wires hanging loose. It saw no air and no light. The badger had made a perfect trap. The scratching had all been for this reason. Badger had known about the weak spot from the very start. The leader tried to step back quick. Its broken legs slowed it down. The floor shook hard under its weight. More pieces of metal cracked and fell. The hole grew bigger fast. The leader slipped forward. Its claws scraped useless on the edge. It could not stop itself. It fell halfway into the dark. Its scream echoed long, then cut off short. The other Yiktari closest to the hole lost their balance. They slipped and grabbed at each other. They tried to hold on. Their claws found nothing solid. They fell one after another into the cold black space below. The fall was long and hard. They hit sharp pipes and live wires. They landed in a place with zero air. Their bodies froze quick. Their movements stopped forever. The badger did not watch them fall. It went back to the child Elias. It sat down beside him, calm. Elias reached out and patted the thick fur. The badger leaned into the hand. It licked one paw slow. The remaining Yiktari stood far back now. They did not hiss anymore. They did not click their mandibles. They just stared, quiet, at the hole, at the child, and at the small animal that had beaten them. The scratching sound had stopped. The room felt very still. The only noise left was the soft hum of broken machines far away. The badger yawned once, big. It showed clean, sharp teeth. It curled up next to the child. Elias sat down again. He put one arm around the furry body. They waited together. The Yiktari did not come closer. They knew the fight was lost. They felt something new deep inside. They felt respect, mixed with fear. The small, quiet animal had taught them a hard lesson. The child and the badger sat peaceful in the middle of the broken room. The Yiktari changed their plan. They no longer rushed in alone. They stood shoulder to shoulder. They made a strong wall of shells and claws. They moved as one. They pushed the circle tighter. They wanted to trap the badger and the child together. They thought numbers would win. They thought the small animal could not fight them all. The badger watched them come. It did not back away. It walked forward to meet them. The Yiktari lowered their heads. Their mandibles opened wide. They hissed together. The sound filled the room like angry wind. The badger kept walking. It looked tiny against the wall of giants. When they were close, the badger darted under the first pair of legs. It came up inside the group. It bit a knee. It clawed a belly. It moved so fast, the Yiktari could not turn quick enough. They bumped into each other. Their claws hit shells instead of fur. The badger slipped out the other side. It ran to the scratch spot. It dug again. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The Yiktari turned as a group, chased the badger. They tried to corner it against the wall. The badger did not let them. It ran low. It zigzagged. It stayed out of reach. One Yiktari swung too hard. It lost balance. It fell forward. The badger jumped on its back. It bit the neck. The Yiktari dropped flat. Other Yiktari stepped over their fallen friend. They kept coming. Elias moved for the first time. He stood up slow. He walked to the side. He stayed out of the way. He watched the badger work. The badger fought like it had no end. It never got tired. It never looked scared. It just kept biting and scratching. The Yiktari bled from many places. Their acid blood made smoke on the floor. The smell was sharp and bad. One Yiktari got lucky. It caught the badger with its claw. The claw closed around the middle. The badger went still for 1 second. Then it relaxed completely. Its body became soft and slippery. It twisted hard. The claw opened. The badger fell free. It turned and bit the inside of the claw. The Yiktari pulled back fast. Fingers behind. The badger ran back to the spot. It scratched harder now. The metal started to bend a little. The Yiktari saw this. They looked at the floor. They looked at each other. They started to understand something. They moved faster. They wanted to stop the scratching. They wanted to kill the badger before it finished whatever it did. 3 Yiktari jumped at once. They landed on the spot. They tried to cover it with their bodies. The badger was faster. It slipped between them. It bit one in the eye. The Yiktari screamed and fell back. The other 2 swung wild. The badger dodged. It bit legs. It bit tails. It made them hurt so much they forgot the floor. The circle was messy now. Some Yiktari lay still. Some limped. Some hissed weak. The badger stood in the middle. It breathed hard, but steady. It looked around. It saw the child. Elias gave a small nod. The badger walked back to the scratch spot. It dug with all its power. The metal groaned loud. The Yiktari heard it. Again. The leader came last. It dragged one broken leg. It looked at the badger with hate. It raised its last good claw high. The badger looked up. It did not move. It waited. The claw came down fast. The badger rolled left. The claw hit the scratch spot. The metal cracked open. A big piece fell in. A hole appeared in the floor. The Yiktari leader stared down. It saw darkness below. It saw broken wires. It saw no air. The badger had made a trap. The scratching had a reason. The badger had known the weak place all along. The leader tried to step back. It was too late. The floor shook. More pieces fell. The hole grew fast. The hole in the floor grew bigger with every second. The Yiktari closest to it slipped. They tried to grab the edges. Their claws scraped useless. The metal broke under their weight. They fell down screaming into the dark space below. The fall was long. They hit pipes and wires. They landed in a place with no air. Their bodies froze fast. Their screams stopped quick. The others saw what happened. They tried to run back. They pushed against each other. They made the circle fall apart. Some tripped over the ones already hurt. The badger did not chase them. It went back to the hole. It scratched the edges. It made the hole wider. It wanted more to fall. Elias walked closer to the badger. He stood behind it. He looked down into the black. He did not smile. He just watched. The badger looked up at him once. It made a small sound like a grunt. Elias patted its head. The fur was wet with blood. The badger did not mind. The Yktari leader still stood. It had lost one eye. It had lost half its face. Looked at the child. It looked at the badger. It made a weak hiss. It wanted to fight one last time. It raised its broken claw. It stepped forward slow. The floor shook under it. The hole pulled at its feet. The badger moved first. It ran straight at the leader. It jumped high. It landed on the chest. It bit the soft spot under the jaw. The leader tried to shake it off. It could not. The badger held tight. It clawed deep. The leader fell backward. Its legs kicked. The badger rode it down. The leader hit the edge of the hole. The floor broke more. The leader slipped halfway in. The badger jumped off. It landed safe. The leader grabbed the edge with one claw. It tried to pull up. Its strength was gone. Its claw slipped. It fell. The last sound was a wet crunch far below. Only a few Yktari remained. They stood far back. They looked at the hole. They looked at the badger. They looked at the child. They no longer hissed. They no longer clicked. They stood quiet. The badger walked to the child. It sat down, licked its paws. It looked calm. Elias sat next to it. He put one arm around the badger. The badger leaned in. The last Yktari turned. They ran. They wanted to find a safe room. They wanted to hide. They wanted to tell others what happened. They did not look back. The badger watched them go. It yawned big. It showed sharp teeth covered in red. It closed its mouth. It lay down on the floor. It rested. Elias looked around the broken room. He saw the bodies. He saw the blood. He saw the hole. He looked down at the badger. The badger looked up at him. Their eyes met. The badger made a soft sound. Elias smiled real this time. He said two words in a quiet voice. Good boy. The station lights flickered. The air smelled of burned metal and acid. The hole in the floor stayed open. Cold wind came up from below. The child and the badger sat together. They did not move. They did not speak. They waited. Far away, a small camera drone floated in. It had recorded everything. It sent the last pictures to the Yktari home world. The pictures showed a small human child waving at the camera. The child looked happy. The badger sat in his lap. The badger looked bored. The message ended there. The Yktari who saw the pictures felt cold. They had lost many strong warriors. They had lost to one child and one small animal. They would never forget. They would tell the story to every new warrior. They would say, never trust a quiet human. Never trust a thing that scratches the floor in silence. The rescue team came 2 days later. They found the station quiet. They found broken walls. They found dry blood. They found the big hole in the floor. They looked down and saw frozen bodies stuck between pipes. They counted 36 Yktari. They looked for the child. They found Elias in a small side room. He sat on the floor with his back against the wall. The honey badger slept across his legs. The badger looked clean now. The blood was gone. The fur shone black and silver. Elias looked up when the door opened. He did not stand. He just waved one hand. The rescue people ran to him. They checked him for hurt. He had none. They asked questions. He answered short. He said the badger helped. He said the badger knew what to do. The rescue people looked at the animal. They had never seen one like it. They asked what it was. Elias said, honey badger. They asked where it came from. Elias said, Earth. They asked why he brought it. Elias said, because he likes it. They did not ask more. They picked up the child. They picked up the box. They carried them both to the ship. The badger woke up. It looked around. It yawned. It went back to sleep in the box. The news spread fast. The Yktari sent the story to many worlds. They showed the video. They told everyone what happened. They said humans are strange. They said humans bring small things that fight like monsters. They said never circle a human child if it has a box that scratches the floor. Other aliens listened. They laughed at first. They thought it was a joke. Then they saw the box video. They stopped laughing. They started to watch humans more careful. They started to ask questions about pets. They started to stay far from human children with quiet animals. Years later, people still talked about Elisara 9. They called it the Badger Day. They made stories about it. They drew pictures of the small black animal with silver back. They showed it standing on a pile of Yktari claws. They showed the child sitting calm beside it. The pictures went everywhere. Elias grew up. He became tall. He joined the Space Force. He always kept a honey badger with him. Not the same one. The first one lived long and died old. Elias got a new one. He named it the same. He trained it gentle. He let it scratch floors. He smiled when people asked why. He said, it helps him think. The Yktari changed their ways. They no longer attacked without care. They studied humans more. They learned about earth animals. They made new rules. Never fight a honey badger. They said it in their training halls. Said it to their young. They said it forever. The small animal from Earth became famous. It became a sign. It meant do not push a human too far. It meant some things look weak, but fight hard. It meant silence can hide strength. The galaxy remembered the lesson. The galaxy remembered the scratching sound. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Elias grew old one day. He sat in a chair on a quiet planet. The last honey badger lay beside him. It scratched the wooden floor, slow and calm. Elias watched it. He smiled. He closed his eyes. The badger kept scratching. The sound filled the room, gentle and steady. The sound said everything was safe. The sound said the fight was over.